Hello everyone and welcome back to You Can Gourmet with Spring Rolls. Alright, for this dish I have a couple of peeled and grated carrots. I have about a cup of red pickled cabbage, 2 or 3 garlic cloves chopped, 3 thinly sliced pork chops, and a spring roll pastry. We'll season, salt and pepper to taste, and I want you to know that with this dish it lends itself in many different directions. So you can play with the flavors. If you want a different protein, feel free to change it. If you want less carrots, if you want to add fresh ginger, you can. Fresh cabbage, if you choose to do that, keep in mind that will reduce during cooking, so you may want to add a little bit more. But have fun with it. It's a fun dish to play with. I also have some vermicelli rice noodles, and here I'll use about a quarter, closer to a third of the pack. This is a great ingredient to work with. It's a tasty snack to have while you're cooking, but this is where you really elevate your spring roll game and you're taking it to that gourmet level. If you learn this technique, and it's not difficult, it'll be a game changer for you. And just in case this dish isn't crunchy enough, we'll go ahead and garnish it with some fresh scallions and peanuts. As you see here, I'll go ahead and wrap each pork chop in a couple of pieces of plastic. 2 reasons. 1, it keeps the meat from tearing, and 2, it's a lot less mess to clean up when I'm done. You'll notice with the meat tenderizer, I work it from an in to out type motion, and that ensures that I don't just hammer down on the meat and run the risk of tearing it even with the plastic on top. Once we get it to the desired thinness, then we'll go ahead and thinly slice it and cut it into cubes. Since there's already a thin pork chop to start out with, it didn't take long to get it to paper thin. Now that our pork is thinly sliced, I went ahead and heated my oil to fry the rice noodle in. And I know what you're thinking, that's a whole lot of oil. And you're right, it is. However, if you don't burn your rice noodle, you can definitely reuse it once it's cooled down and it's been strained. Now if you want to impress your friends, family, your significant other, bring them into the kitchen and this is what you do. Boom, baby, just like that. You just gourmeted it. You elevated your spring roll game. No big deal. I knew you can do it. Now go ahead and pull it out of the oil and put it on a paper towel lined sheet. Let it drain off and season it with some salt and pepper. It also makes for a great snack while you're cooking. Now that that's done, I've went ahead and added a little oil to my pan, preheated it, and decided to throw in the pork slices, cubes, however you decide to cut it. Throw in the carrots. They're all cut thin, so everything will cook quickly and evenly. Give it a quick toss, make sure nothing's sticking. At this point, throw in your garlic. Garlic will cook even faster yet, so keep an eye on it. Give everything a nice toss, evenly coated. Adjust your temperature if it's too high or too low. At this point, we'll go ahead and season it with some salt and pepper, again to taste. Keep in mind that the red pickled cabbage will also have some salt in it, so you don't go too heavy with it. And I saw some soy sauce laying around, so I thought, hey, I should probably add that in there. It is a spring roll after all. And one quick word about the red pickled cabbage or pickled cabbage. Technically, it's now sauerkraut, and sauerkraut is very similar to Korean kimchi. However, kimchi is pickled along with certain fruit and peppers and served next to rice dishes, whereas sauerkraut is served next to certain meat dishes in different regions of Europe. At this point, we'll add our sauerkraut or red pickled cabbage to the rest of our ingredients. The carrots are now not overly cooked, so they're not soggy. They still have a little texture to them, and the pork is cooked through. Give this a quick toss, make sure all those flavors are incorporated, and we'll put it to the side and get ready to roll our pastry. Now that our mix has cooled, our pastries have thawed out and we've separated enough sheets gently to prevent them from tearing. Keep in mind to keep those extra sheets wrapped in a damp towel or plastic to prevent them from drying because they will dry quickly. We'll go down to about a third of the pastry sheet and we'll fill it. You can use as much stuffing as you like. If you want a short, thick spring roll, you can do that. If you want a longer, thinner spring roll, just make sure you have enough to cover and you're able to roll it over several times. At this point, we'll fold one end over the other, We'll add a little bit of egg wash, and that'll serve as our adhesive to keep that spring roll from coming undone. Make sure you get all the sides. Give it 1 or 2 more rolls, and there you have your spring roll. One done. Okay, let's do one more here. And I want to show you that if you get a little careless or too quick, negligent with your creases and your folds, you will tear the pastry. Now if the pastry tears and it's small and it's on the inside of the roll, I think you'll be fine. However, in my case, the tear was just too big and I didn't want to run the risk of it splitting open in the hot oil when I fried it. So again, we'll fold over. Remember to tuck it in just a little bit, get it nice and tight. And here's where I get a little careless, a little too quick. Folds are sloppy, uneven, and uh-oh. Wait a minute. Try it. No, don't. Yep. Throw the pastry out and go ahead and start over. Alright, now that our springs are rolled, I preheated my oil to 365 degrees and I started to cook the spring roll pastries. Keep in mind, everything in that spring roll is already cooked, so all we have to do is get a nice rich brown color on that pastry. And that's also the same oil we fried our rice noodle in. Now that they're cooking, they'll be ready in about 2 or 3 minutes, or when evenly browned on all sides. Whatever we don't fry, we can go ahead and put in an airtight container and store in a freezer for up to 6 months. And the best thing about that is those can fry from frozen. Just remember to adjust your temperature and cooking time accordingly. So if you're adding a cold or frozen ingredient to oil, you'll want to start with the cooler temperature, about 350, and it'll take a little longer to get everything warmed through. So it'll take about 8 minutes or so. But on a lower cooking temp, it won't over brown. Just use your best judgment. Okay, we've arrived at the end. Whatever rice noodle didn't get eaten is now left for plating. And here I like to build mine pretty tall for the dramatic effect, but you can go as tall or short as you want. Bird's nest, use your creativity and have fun with it. Like I said, I go pretty tall and I'll cut my spring rolls on a bias and I'll sit them up against that rice noodle. You can now garnish with the peanuts and scallions or green onions that were left, and you can drizzle your sweet and sour sauce or leave it to the side and you can dip your spring roll into it. There you go, you've just gourmeted spring rolls. Enjoy. I had a great time making this fun and whimsical dish for you guys. I hope you give it a try and let me know how it turns out. Give me a thumbs up, a share, all that fun YouTube stuff. I look forward to seeing you again soon, and remember that you can gourmet.